What's poppin', everybody? This is Saber4. Gonna be comparing Jirachi and the Snorlax from Astonishing Volt Tackle that's gonna be coming in our English set today. So I feel like these cards actually have a lot of similarities, as Snorlax can give some competition to Jirachi as a Pokemon that has a strong support ability that works in the active position. So as we all know, Jirachi is a very popular support Pokemon that's not a GX or a V like Crobat and Dedenne. And a lot of decks basically have the foundation around that card. Scoop up nets, switches. It's an amazing support Pokemon based on the old EX Deoxys Jirachi. So we know what it does. You reveal the top 5 cards from your deck, grab any trainer card, and then Jirachi is asleep. The new Snorlax that's going to be coming out with Stuff Up basically acts like a tropical beach. It's got to be active to use this effect, and then you just draw until you have 7 cards, and your turn ends. So there's quite a bit of appeal in this card, in my opinion. I mean, Zacian V, once again with another sort of similar effect, has seen so much success. And Tropical Beach, for those that had the card, it was always useful depending on the decks you wanted to use. It was a useful card for sure. And that could help your opponent since it was a stadium. This one, obviously, you're the only one that can gain the effect. Other perks that Snorlax has over Jirachi, I would say it's the stats. 130 HP is definitely much better than 70 HP. Retreat, even though this guy has bigger retreat, it's pretty inconsequential because when Jirachi uses his ability, it goes to sleep. We don't have the escape board anymore, and usually the player that uses Jirachi's effect will use a switch or a scoop up net to promote an attacker or even promote another Jirachi and then get another search. Snorlax is perfectly compatible with both of those cards. Now, I guess on the rare chance if the Jirachi survives in the active position and then you don't want to search, you just want to attach an energy and manually retreat it, yeah, I guess that one retreat is better, but most of the time players are going to use switches or scoop up nets on these cards. Plus, even though Body Slam is not that good, it's still a more useful attack than the one Jirachi has, and I guess maybe could come up if you're using a deck with energy acceleration too. You can do 100, and then if you're lucky, you can even inflict paralysis on your opponent. So, not too bad for Pokemon mainly used for support. So I'd say stat-wise, Snorlax wins, but ultimately I think both Pokemon will be used depending on the deck. Like, one of Snorlax's big disadvantages against over Jirachi is that it ends the turn once you use his effect. Jirachi, once you get the search, you can still proceed, you can still switch and make an attack, like I've said, with another Pokemon, or just keep going, use a supporter. Like, a lot of the times Jirachi will fetch you a supporter and then you can proceed from there. Snorlax, once you use his effect, your turn ends. And the big thing, we've got Marnie in the format, and as always in expanded. These sort of effects, if you do this effect, it's the same with Zacian. You're trying to build your hand, trying to draw cards, and then your opponent completely negates that with like a Marnie. It is a big thing going against it. Jirachi, on the other hand, promotes speed, which is what the best decks, favor, consistency. You can use his ability, and then you can still proceed with your turn, make searches, make an attack. It's just too easy. Jirachi has already proven itself. You get the search with Jirachi, and then you can go for a scoop up net, go for a switch. And it is more advanced, building your deck, having the right amount of the switching cards, right amount of support cards, other consistency cards, to have a deck built on Jirachi and then make it work without Jirachi being a hindrance. But it allows for faster decks, more versatile decks. Snorlax is a much simpler card. You use its effect, and then you're going to draw a bunch of cards, your turn ends. I feel like Snorlax will have its place and maybe give a lot of competition to Jirachi in slower decks, maybe more heavy setup oriented decks. If you're trying to get a bunch of stage 1 Pokemon out or a stage 2 Pokemon out, maybe you're doing some elaborated combos, you need a bunch of Pokemon. His effect that lets you access a lot more cards like that is stronger in that regard. And in a way, your turn ends effect is somewhat shared with Jirachi too. Like I've said, most people are going to use a switch or a scoop up net with Jirachi, but sometimes when you can't get that effect, like when you don't have those cards, if Jirachi stays asleep, it's going to mean it stays stuck in the active position. So it's almost like the same effect with Snorlax, you gotta end your turn. Now you're going to still be able to play some cards and then end your turn, as opposed to just instantly ending with Snorlax once you draw and use the effect. But still, it's almost the same thing. So in summary, decks that want to be fast and perhaps want to use a key attack as soon as possible, like Arceus decks that use the Arceus Delgapalkia, that want to get that guy's GX attack off. You know, in the past, Lightning decks with Zekrom and Pikachu, they use Jirachi too, so you wanted to get that energy acceleration attack. Jirachi would help you out with that. Add trainers and just keep going. Decks maybe that use Fire or Welder. Obviously, you don't just want to draw cards and end your turn, you want to use your Welders. So these kinds of decks, I don't think they would benefit from Snorlax or any sort of similar decks with a similar premise. But I do feel that setup decks, slower oriented decks like Dark Box is a great example. Decks that you don't really are going to attack quick, or you're not really ready to attack early game and you're setting up, like decks that use Stage 2 Energy Acceleration Pokemon, Stage 1 even, like the Frost Moth with Lapras. I think this card is going to be a great help for that deck actually. Ever since we lost Cynthia, I haven't been feeling that deck a lot in Standard, that water deck, and a card like Snorlax is really going to help it. Any other decks that pretty much, you know, setup is your big challenge, your first challenge, I think Snorlax will really help. Now, you can say Jirachi can help out those decks too, of course, but it's just one card, one trainer card that Jirachi is going to give you. You know, Snorlax, if they don't mess with him with something like Marnie or something, you can get potentially a lot of cards depending on how many cards you had in hand when you use this guy's effect. And it just really allows you to go for more plays and do more stuff on your next turn. So, which is the better card? I feel like Jirachi is more flexible and more versatile, so perhaps that card it's still going to be better, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see. It already proven itself. Snorlax hasn't come out yet, so we don't know, but I think ultimately Jirachi will still be the better card because it's more flexible, more versatile, doesn't end your turn, and since we have the scoop up nets and the switches, you know, it's easy to make combos and keep going with your turn when you use that card. But Snorlax will definitely be one of the best cards when it comes out. An amazing support Pokemon, and that will be very, very good, and even better, I think, in certain decks like Dark Box, like Energy Acceleration decks, Hydreigon, Frost Moth, you know, these sort of decks. Any other deck that you want to grab a bunch of cards at once, Snorlax will be better than Jirachi in that regard. Both cards are amazing. Like I said, ultimately, if I had to pick like the better card of the two overall, Jirachi wins by a slight margin, but I'm definitely looking forward to Snorlax a lot more than when Jirachi was going to come out. I mean, Jirachi has been great, but I'm really looking forward to Snorlax. I think it's going to be a really great card in a lot of decks. It's going to help him out. So this has been the video comparison, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Which card do you like better? Are you looking forward to Snorlax? Both cards have their merits and their disadvantages, like I've said. Jirachi has already proven itself. I mean, we sort of knew, everybody knew it was going to be good. Seeing was based on the old Jirachi that was amazing too in its time. So we'll see if Snorlax gains some popularity as a great support Pokemon in decks. I'm looking forward to it. So tell me what you guys think. Do you think I'm expecting too much out of it? Do you think it's not going to be good? Do you think it is kind of good, but Jirachi is still better? Even in the decks that I described, you know, you'd rather use Jirachi than Snorlax? Tell me what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends. Thank you guys for watching as usual, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Saberbull Final 4. What's up?